It's the fight against your Bankai boss. So I'm going to be honest, there are like a lot of contenders for this whole entire video idea. It's just that the fight against your Bankai boss, the worst design feature inside this game. And honestly, I feel like a really good runner-up would be the way that you get your full resurrection for Rankars. The way that you get it, you literally have to just constantly guess at an NPC, not knowing which one it could be, and it's just completely RNG. And it's also RNG for the Bankai boss fight as well. So I waited to make this video until I got my Bankai so that people can't say, oh, you just want them to nerf it so that you can get it, because I have it. But the fight is actually one of the worst designed fights I've seen in a minute. And let me actually tell you why. So the reason as to why I think it's very, very badly designed, or the first reason, is just because it feels like the fight is more so RNG versus actually skill and learning how to fight the boss itself. Now when I say RNG, I kind of mean it in a way where it's like, you can either have a run where the boss decides to not perfectly parry everything that you do, or you can have a run where the boss would parry everything that you do. And having a boss fight like that, where like the boss can actually play on the defensive side and fight back, there's nothing wrong with that when it's done the right way. Having it to where the boss can easily react to anything that you're going to be doing beforehand just creates a very bad boss fight, because it doesn't like let you show off your skill as a player. It's more so just you knowing what the boss is going to do next, or you could possibly bait the boss into doing something. And when I'm saying doing something, I'm mainly talking about Q dashing and then doing the R critical. Now, I honestly love this feature. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying from like a boss fight perspective, it's not the best, because what players would usually just do, and it's actually how you can like beat your Sheik guy inside type soul, you just run, turn around, Q dash, and you spam your critical. So it also worked for your Bankai boss fight as well. It's just that it's not as easy as it is for doing it with your Shikai. And not only that, when I was fighting my Thunder Shikai boss, it seemed like it would always know when to block my Blitz, my Barrack, or my Fulgora skills. And it's just like there's not really much room for you to actually fight the boss, how I'm assuming the devs actually want you to fight it, versus just taking like the easier route to just run and spam your critical. So just to summarize the whole entire first point, I just feel like the boss is too perfect. Like, it's just an unrealistic fight, and I feel like it's more RNG because on the run that I actually did beat my Bankai boss, the boss didn't really parry at all. It's just that the runs before that, it was like anything I did, the boss would just be able to instantly react. And moving on to the second failed feature for the whole entire Bankai boss fight idea is just going to be the inner worlds. Now, I do want to say at the start, I do actually like the idea of each inner world being different, because it just ties into the idea that everybody's blade is different and each person's sword is not the same. However, when you actually have to go fight your Bankai, if you have a world like Ichigo's inner world and you're fighting any Bankai really inside the game on that map, you would understand how much of a disadvantage you're at. And Ichigo's inner world was actually the one that I had. So just to get this out of the way, one of the many faults with Ichigo's inner world, or the main one, is the fact that it's like a linear world. If you're trying to do any strategy to fight your boss, like the run and spam your critical, you will most likely be hit by a wall, like an invisible barrier, easier than anybody else would get hit. The best maps for your Bankai fight is going to be like the open desert biome one, the Menos destroyed water pit one, or the one where it's just complete water and it's like pillars all around. Those maps are very, very good for your fight. It's just that if you have something like Ichigo's inner world or like the forest, you're really trapped inside a small little barrier where you have to fight this boss that has next to no cooldowns on all the skills, and it also has the passive, whichever your Bankai has, inside the game. It just makes it a really toxic fight, and I feel like that world specifically should not be allowed for your Bankai fight. And just to further emphasize this, when I was fighting my Bankai on stream, I actually glitched out the world with one of my Thunder skills. So not only is the world terrible for fights because it's close range and linear, you can also fall out of it. Now, I'm pretty sure this is just a rare instance, but the fact that it happened, and I actually did beat the boss on that attempt as well, just makes it very, very bad. This problem isn't as big as like the first or the third one. It's just that it's really annoying and it makes your fight so much more tedious. People that have huge maps and beat the boss on like what, the 23rd or the 20th try, wouldn't really understand this. It's just that imagine hitting an invisible wall after every single flash step that you do, instead of a fight where you cannot go near the boss because it has a perfect AI. it just leads to the fight being very poorly designed. And for the last and final point is mainly just going to be about the damage on some of your skills. So specifically for me, I was fighting the Thunder Bankai, and if I got hit by, I'm pretty sure, Grand Relay or Grand Current, the fight was basically done. Now, keep in mind, I'm fighting this when I am a max elite grade Soul Reaper who has Cat Ears, Aizen's Ice Patch, Vamp Cloak. I'm pretty sure this is like the most HP you can get besides having a legendary clan, which I don't have. And if I got hit by one skill, it would take off 3 bars of my HP. Now, the fight is supposed to be hard, and I do understand that. It's just that I feel like if you mess up once, or if you get hit by one skill and that determines that your run is basically over, it's just complete BS. Now, this isn't like the instance for every single fight. You can get hit by that one skill and still continue fighting, because that happened to me inside my fight and I still ended up winning. It's just that that's very, very, very poorly designed. Because if you're fighting the boss, how an ideal boss fight would want to go inside like any game would be you fight the boss a couple of times and the boss is hard, right? So you eventually learn the boss's patterns and you just build up your own reaction time so that you can combat what the boss is doing. For example, let's say you're on like your 40th attempt and you know that sometimes the boss is going to use its critical right after landing 3 M1s on you. You'll be like, okay, how do I play around that? You wouldn't just want to go inside the boss fight and after the boss M1s you once, uses a skill that does 60% of your HP, then spams your critical and just constantly stuns you with the Bankai passive. Like, honestly, the boss fight, I like how difficult it is because it shows you the difference from your Shikai to your Bankai, and I honestly love that idea and I want the fight to like still be hard. It's just that a boss fight that's mainly dependent on RNG, on if you're going to have a good run where your boss doesn't really fight back, or if you're going to have a run where your boss is just like the perfect NPC, is just very poorly designed. And I actually want to know your thoughts on this. I feel like some people are going to disagree, and I'm honestly fine with that too. Like, I've seen some runs where people just easily predict what the boss is going to do, or they're fighting the boss right up in front of his face and perfectly predicting what it's going to do next. And honestly, congrats to you if he was able to get that. But I did beat my boss after 92 tries of fighting it. And not only that, I've seen people who have to fight the Ink, Blood, or Ice boss average 200 plus tries on it. So yeah, imagine that you finally do all these raids and stuff to have to fight your boss 200 tries, and then you get put on a 1 hour cooldown every time that you pop your Bankai. Yeah. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this whole entire topic. I'll just like have footage of me using my Bankai up. I still think that like getting your Bankai is actually completely worth it, because once I get it and I pop it, it's honestly like anything that's inside my pack just gets struck down, like just like a huge thunder. Thunder. I just wanted to play the sound effect every time I said thunder. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, or I'm gonna... Alright, I just edited out something that should not have been said on YouTube. And yeah, we're just gonna leave it at like and subscribe, and I'm just gonna end the video. Thanks for watching.